It is Thursday afternoon. The Steelers are practicing. The Panthers are done practicing. Hay is in the barn. I like where our kids are right now. I like the togetherness. I like the work they put in this week. Seems to be a lot of focus. And I told them at the beginning of the week that as the season goes on and the stage starts to get bigger, your focus has got to get a little bit narrower as far as what your focus is, what you want, what you need to get better at. And I really feel like we got a great weekend. So a great week of practice does not mean victory, but we got to go down there and play. Virginia Tech will be motivated. I'm sure it'll be personal for them based on last year's game, just like last year was personal for us based on the year before's game down there. It's going to be who takes it more personal, I think. Again, got a ton of respect for them and their staff and their football team. They're really good. They're not easy at home, and again, they're on a high right now, and they're playing well. So they're playing good football. And again, like I told you on Monday, it's a credit to Justin Fuente and his staff. Questions?
This is a big game in November. Do you feel a buzz amongst the players in the locker room when practice?
I do. And again, we played some big games in November. I mean, Wake Forest last year was a big game in November, I think. I don't know what month it was, but it seemed like it was late when we clinched down there. So it's, our guys have played in some of these, and that's the nice thing is, we've had some big games in November, and that's what you try to do in your season is set it up where you are playing big games in November. Meaningful games where the practices become meaningful. I think if you're a 5-5 team going into November or going into this mid-November date, that it's kind of maybe hard to you're out there pulling teeth to get them to practice hard. But we didn't have to pull any teeth this week to get them to go. They're well aware. I think they read the newspaper.
How often have you had to pull teeth to get them to focus in practice?
These guys here?
No, I mean
never.
Overall.
Through the years, I mean, there's times. Well, I mean, I just don't remember the last time we had a really crappy season. But when you have crappy seasons, you're pulling teeth. You're out there. Oh yeah, it's what's the motivation? They know what the motivation is right now. They know, what's at stake. And again, we know we don't control our own destiny, but we just control. Again, it's a big game in November. I mean, it's a chance to get number 8. Gives you a chance to get number 9, and gets you a chance to get number 10. And there's those things I think they think about and they want to leave their mark, their legacy here in Pitt football in 2019.
Pat, how do you feel you guys have grown since September? And was there one area when you started, man, we really got to get better in part X? And if we do that, we're going to be fine.
Well, it's an up and down deal. It's like one week you got to get better at this, the next week you got to get better at that. I mean, it's like as soon as you plug up one hole, another freaking hole goes crazy, and you got to go fill up that hole. But I think that's what you do every week is try to find out where your weakness is. I mean, if you had to look at one major thing, it was the running game early in the season, as far as our offense goes, and then mid-season you're sitting there and you're throwing 3 turnovers or having 3 turnovers in the first half, 3 consecutive series in a row, and then you do it again the next week. So you're trying to curb that. I mean, we don't beat North Carolina, who again I think is I think they're really good. I think Sam Howell. I think he should come out early. I think the NFL may change the rule, get him out of here, get him out of the ACC. You pass that down to Mac Brown, but I think he's outstanding. And Newsome is, I mean, those are special players that we put. Stocker started the Georgia Tech game. We had no problem, and I thought their number 10 was athletic and could run. He was a 10-5 100-meter guy. But then all of a sudden, Daz Newsome comes in, and all of a sudden, this guy's like, we can't touch him. So I thought he was special. I think North Carolina is a good football team.
Sorry, talk slow, man. Follow. You ruined my follow-up. I think that's part of your game.
Sorry, take a minute, get your question back together.
I mean, when you
I didn't answer
you guys have the ability to win different ways and be more versatile in the way. And sometimes the offense has to go down and run Pitt special at the end, and sometimes the defense has to get a stop at the 25. I mean, is that sometimes you have to run the clock out, not run the ball? I mean, have you guys grown in that capacity in terms of which not being one-dimensional?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, I think that's what we talked about all year. It's not like we blew anybody out. So we were up. We blew someone out maybe in the first half. In the second half, things went the other way, regardless of whether we got conservative, which is not a bad thing. You win a lot of games. I see the NFL plays very conservative at times. But we've found a way to win. I think, again, we talked about this on Monday, different ways, and we've been in these games, whether it's a 4-minute drive, whether it's a 2-minute stop on defense. whether it's a an overtime win and then defense has got to get 2 4th-down stops after we score a touchdown in overtime. So I mean, I just think our guys know the situations. We've worked enough situations in practice that they know, hey, it's time for us to go do our job. Oh, they didn't get their job done, let's go do our job. And there was no finger pointing out of our football team during the year when maybe hey, you guys weren't doing what you needed to do. Come on, we're playing good over here. How about you? I think that's the greatest thing is our kids stuck together and didn't point fingers and just continue to get better every week, which was part of your original question is what was something you got better at and what was the major thing. So there's major things every week.
You mentioned North Carolina a minute ago, being impressed with him. What about the league overall, the ACC overall this year? How do you think it stacks up to past years?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the people on ESPN, I mean, they need to wake up. You look at every conference, you can pick on one because Clemson's been so dominant. But, I mean, Ohio State's been pretty dominant in the Big Ten. Who else is there right now, really? We'll see how they finish out their next 2 games, but you're probably going to say the same thing. I think the ACC is a great conference. And I'm not saying it because I'm in the conference. I'm saying it because I coach and watch the videotape. In the ACC Coastal, compared to the Atlantic, I think the Coastal is a better conference or division. Excuse me. I think it's a better division. When you look at the parity in the league, we got 3 teams that are 7-3 right now. I mean, what else would you want going in with 2 more weeks to go? I mean, that's awesome. That means there's not one dominant team in there that's just oh, they're going to be there and everybody else is no good. That's not the case in the Coastal, so I think it's an impressive division. Period. I mean, I think that's what every I think every news guy would like to have 3 teams fighting at the end and playing meaningful games at the end. There's no meaningful games on the other side.
I'm sure you guys have access to a ton of data you probably look at in-house, particularly with things like 4th downs or when you kick forward, or situations, or when you go forward, when you punt, and all those kind of things. How much access do you have to information and data and analytics like that in the game? Is that something you can access?
I jump
and
on my
consult,
phone and every once in a while Google. No, no, you don't have access to that. You don't have access to it. With computers during the game at all. But you go in. You know what you're dealing with as an opponent. I mean, you kind of have an idea. What they like to do. Like Virginia Tech likes to go for it on 4th down a lot, so we're prepared. For that, and then obviously our offense is prepared when we need to at the right situation to go for it as well. So, but we got analytics for everything. I mean, it's whether it's timeout usage or and again we evaluate ourselves where we are, what we did, what we shouldn't have done, and what we can do better every week as well.
You hear about coaches that they'll have a guy upstairs. You know what I mean? That's just his job. Is 4th down, coach the number, say you do this. You know what I mean? This gives you the highest. Is that something you would consider, or is
it's something we do?
That you have someone that?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where he is, but we know. Yeah.
But he's in your ear and offering that input.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that's all that that's their job. We do that.
How many guys are in your ear during the game? Everybody?
No, but I'm in their ear. No, I'm listening to everybody. I flip offense, defense. Andre's probably the hardest guy because anytime he's on special teams, he takes his headphones on. I'm like, can you leave your headphones on so I can tell you something? No, we're I'm listening more than talking. And if I've got something to say, then I'll interrupt but not when they're trying to make a play call. But then I'm listening for our obviously that person that's giving us information is detailed. And, we're talking about that all the time.
What was that transition like for somebody that started out in football before the analytics boom and now having to embrace it so much? What was that like for you, kind of going through all of that to where it is now?
If you're going from normal football to more of this analytics, what do you do?
Right. What was that transition like for you?
You know what? It wasn't a transition at all because I've always kind of thought that way without having it. So when I first started getting interested in it about 4 years ago, it's funny. We used to get these newsletters. I won't tell you what these newsletters are, and they were the endings of different games, whether it be at the half or whether at the end of a game. And I would read this newsletter every week, and it was just kind of and I'd write down next to it like what I would do. Well, I would have done the same thing. I wouldn't have done that, And you kind of just almost test yourself. It's kind of like the test that you take, and I didn't know there was anything to it. I just know that was kind of all situations. So every week I'd be like, where's that newsletter? And I'd get the newsletter. I'd read it all. And again, it was like just kind of a I guess 4-page deal where it'd give you different situations that happened, you know, in college football. I thought it was, you know, I loved it, and all of a sudden I knew we could, you know, talk to someone like that, find out even more about it, and it was even better. So.
Are there any freshmen that haven't played this year that you think will get in?
You know, right now we've talked about a couple, but you know, we won't get into it. I mean, again, Davis Bevel could play. I mean, that guy, you know, we put him in a red jersey this week on the rocks so he doesn't get hit anymore, but I think he's going to be really good. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe he'll get in this weekend. I don't know. Davis, you know, Matthew Gonsalves is a guy. Who else have we kind of talked about as true freshmen? We'll talk. Those are the guys that come to my mind right now.
Does it ever get to the point where it's too late?
No, it's never too late. You got 4 games. If you got 1 game, you know, it's 1 game. And whether it's, you know, Gonsalves going in to be the right guard or right tackle on the field goal team, what's wrong with it? I mean, you got 4 games. You can do anything you want. So it's, you know, 1 game is never too late. Now, could he have helped you? Yes. But just to, you know, if he's doing a great job and you want to reward him that way of saying, hey, let's go. You're going to do this, and obviously, you know, it won't be some drastic, you know, you know, you're starting now and you're the new field goal kicker. We want to see if somebody can kick a field goal. We're not going to take any chances like that, so it won't be a risky position.
How has Davis grown since getting here?
Davis Bevel is going to be outstanding. I mean, he's tough. You know, I liken him to a Kirk Cousins in his freshman year, and obviously a different stature than Kirk, but just the hits he took, the effort he gives, he plays with passion every single day in practice, and it ain't easy being a scout team quarterback. And, you know, I said, how do you like that red jersey today? And he's like, it's about time, because he's been getting whacked now. And again, when you look at, you know, our sacks and our ability to hit the quarterback, you know, I think part of that is we're going to hit our scout team quarterback. You know, we've got to, you know, you got to practice, you know, during the week on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of hitting your quarterback. And unfortunately, you know, he's had to take, you know, the punishment there, which has really helped. It's really helped our linebackers, you know, and our sack guys, because they're able to go get them.
When did he get that red jersey?
When did he get it?
Yeah.
Today.
Today.
Yeah.
So he
I
was
was
still
looking
getting
down there,
hit.
and I'm like, we got to get, yeah, we said getting hit Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah. I said, we got to get that. We got to put a red jersey on this guy. So he's taking enough hits. Our guys know how to hit the quarterback right now. I don't think we're going to break any bad habits.
Who's going to punt this week?
I don't know.
Did you have a punt derby again?
We had a punt derby. I can tell you this, it'll be Kirk or Cass, one or the other. I promise you that. Find out.
What about Maurice?
Game time decision. He's practiced this week, and
Has he?
Yeah. He's been fast. He's persistent. He eats a lot of Cocoa Puffs for breakfast. I'm like, is that all you eat, Cocoa Puffs? How about eating something else? So I'm watching his weights back up. He lost a few pounds, just not be able to bite, but he's back. You know, back in practice today, and we'll see. So
Would he have to wear something special?
right now they're saying no. Right now, and again, he's got steel. His jaw's better than it was before. So I mean, you know, if we put a steel plate in your jaw, so I mean, it's not like there's a risk of injury. It's just kind of how he feels, and so.
So he does have a steel plate in his jaw.
Oh yeah. He don't shut up either. He can go. He's a beautiful one. Gotta love
Anything
him.
else, gentlemen?
You see with some, like, even hockey players, sometimes they wire it shut. Will that be necessary if he were to play? No.
I don't think so. No. And I thought, what does he have to put, like one of those masks on? They say no. So, well, so he's practiced this week, and you know, we're not, obviously he didn't get any contact. We wouldn't do that to him, but we'll just see where he is. But no, he's way ahead of schedule. I can tell you that. It's not like, you know, if he didn't fix, he was out for the year. So it's either put a plate in so you can go, or you don't put a plate in, you're done for the year. Because, you know, if he doesn't have a plate in there, it's like, you know, we don't want to see his jaw sitting over on the right side of his face. So that's a good thing.
All right.
And they did it with a little scope, but he's got like a little dot there. It looks like a little zit. From
When did he
his
have it?
High school.
Before the North Carolina game?
Oh, yeah.
Right after the Georgia Tech.
Yeah. All right, guys, anything else? Sure. No